That's
There we go. I think we're set. You guys,
Hey Shirley, how you doing? We'll give it a few minutes for folks to filter in.
And while we're waiting, we do have a couple quick poll questions if you want to put your name and organization in the chat, and I will also pull up our Q&A.
great, Shirley. Welcome. We will give a few more minutes for others to join. If not, it looks like, Shirley, you're going to get some great one-on-one time with us, so we're excited for this. We'll just give it a minute or so, just in case others are coming in. We will be recording this session, so it will be available for display later, also for those that are not able to make it. And I see you typing, see an answer maybe coming in the chat, so
Awesome.
great. Right. Chad, do you want us to go ahead and get started then and just let others join in?
Um, sure.
Or we just
Alrighty.
give it, do you want another minute?
Hey, let's give it one more minute.
Okay,
Start at, or we 2 more minutes. We'll start at 5 after.
great.
Okay.
Happy to do that. See a few more people joining, so welcome. We're going to be starting at 5 after just to let others have a chance. But for while those are coming, we do have a quick poll question for you to fill out. And we'll be starting in another minute. Well, thank you, Shirley, for filling out that. But by the end of this session, we hope that you will have a resume added to the SVA job board. So we will be walking through that today. So do appreciate you filling that out, and we'll hope to get that done before. That's one of the goals today. All right, I think it's 5 after. Let's go ahead and just get started. This meeting will be recorded, so if you have somebody who is not able to make it, they'll be able to listen to this recording. But this is the Get Found by Employers, your SVA resume and profile. And we're going to use the next bit of time we have together to go over how to add that to the SVA job board, some tips, and then things to help you get found by employers. Claire, if you want to go ahead and move on to the next slide. I am Wendy Garcia. I'm the Director of Business Development and Strategies with Vantage Point Consulting. I've spent 20 years working in the interaction of military community, higher education, and workforce development. I am a retired military spouse, so I don't just understand the transition and challenges that come with military life. I've actually lived it. And today I'm here to make sure that you walk away with a profile that is live, complete, and working for you with the SVA job board. I'm going to turn it over to the other host and facilitators for today. So I'm going to hand it over to Chad McFarland next to do a quick introduction.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Chad McFarland. I am the Alumni Engagement Coordinator here with Student Veterans of America. I like to say that I've been on staff with SVA for a little over 3 years. I've been around SVA for going on 16 at this point. I was initially hired on as a success coach, and in a prior life, I was actually a corporate recruiter as well. So this is very near and dear to my heart. We're looking forward to reiterate what Wendy said. We want to make sure that you are able to put your best foot forward, and hopefully when you leave this, you'll know what you need to do for optimization and making sure that you're able to show all that you got, because I know Mark is rough out there, so we're here to support you. And I'll throw it over to Claire.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Claire. I'm a higher education support strategist here at Vantage Point Consulting. I am an Army spouse with a background in career and government consulting, as well as Army education, and I work directly with institutions on education benefits and Army tuition assistance. And like Wendy, I bring both professional and personal experience to supporting, military affiliated learners and job seekers and navigating their education and career journeys. And I'm just super excited to be talking with you all today. With that, I'm going to bring us into the agenda. So here's what we have in store for you today. We'll start with a quick overview of the SVA job board and walk through why having a complete profile matters for getting noticed by employers. From there, we'll cover job alerts and how staying active on the board works in your favor, plus a few resume tips to set you up for success. Then Wendy will take us through a live demo, including logging in, building out your profile a little bit, and uploading your resume. She and Chad will also share some resume pointers. Chad will then walk you through some additional resources that are available to you, and we'll wrap up with a live Q&A. But if at any time you have questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to go ahead and drop them in the chat. So the SVA Job Board is a platform built specifically for military affiliated job seekers. The goal is to connect you with employers who, genuinely value military talent and help you find meaningful, fulfilling opportunities. One thing that sets this board apart is that every employer is vetted before being onboarded into the board. So you can trust that what you're finding here on this board is a quality opportunity. And for job seekers, this is completely free for you to use. The board highlights opportunities, including internships and positions across all job types. So there's always something new for you to explore. And on the employer side, recruiters and companies can search for candidates by location, keywords, education, field of study, branch, affiliation, clearance, and more. And that's exactly why we want to talk to you today about completing your profile and making sure employers can find you. So you'll also be able to see the SVA job board link below right here. So you can click it from this screen, but Wendy also did add the link in chat if you would like to access it that way. So let's talk about the fields available to you on the job board. I want to be clear that all of these are optional. So you're really able to, upload as much of this information or as little of this information as you would like, but completing your profile works very strongly in your favor. Starting with the basics, your education, job preferences, and location give employers a clear picture of what you're looking for. Military affiliation is also worth adding. Employers may be searching for a specific MOS or branch, and this section is open to all military affiliated individuals, including dependents, spouses, Gold Star families. It's not limited to just veterans or active service members. And adding your background and previous job titles helps employers understand more of your experience and also improves your discoverability in search results. And, if you're holding a security clearance, we do recommend that you go ahead and add that as it is a highly sought after asset. So setting job alerts and staying active on the board really go hand in hand. As you can see on this slide, you can filter alerts by a number of criteria, and you'll be notified whenever a new opportunity that matches that comes up. And it's really equally as important to keep your profile current. So whenever you gain a new skill, or maybe you earn a certification or complete a degree, go ahead, update your profile so employers are always seeing the most accurate, updated picture of who you are as a candidate. And now, before I hand things over to Wendy to give us a live demo of the job board, I do want to give you a few resume best practices in terms of, uploading or replacing your resume. As you can see on the slide, we recommend saving your resume as a PDF for, universal compatibility. Just make sure the file name is clean and professional, and as well as tailoring your resume to each position you apply to does go a long way. One of the great features about the SVA job board is that you can upload multiple resumes and then designate one of those resumes as your primary. You can also upload supporting documents like certificates and credentials, but one important thing I'd like to note is don't upload anything that contains, PII, personally identifiable information, or anything with sensitive information. This could be your DD-214. So just keep those profiles separate and make sure nothing like that really makes it onto the board. And with that, I will hand it over to Wendy for the live demo.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. So if you want to go to the next screen, so before I start screen sharing, which is the part that I love the best about this webinar and this portion of it, just want to let you guys know what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the job board. We're going to go through how to create a profile, your profile details, how to upload your resume, how to set alerts, and then if there's still time permitted, I will show you from an employer side of what they're going to see so it will help you. So I am going to go ahead and log in. If you do have an SVA job board account, please, you're welcome to follow along with that. The link is in the page. So my screen, I believe, is up.
Yep.
So this is the SVA job board. And if you are not familiar with it, this is the home page, the landing page. Just a quick run through on this. So as there are some headers here at the top where you can search jobs, search internships, scholarships, employers. You can see about job seeker information and then register. You also have the ability to search jobs, companies, information from here. Again, another register. One of the features I really enjoy about the SVA job board is this interactive map. And these show the current jobs that are available that have been curated by SVA. And if you click on the map, it can actually hone into different areas. And if you actually even click further down, it will go even into the street. It will tell you the job, and then you can click on it to get some more information. We have featured jobs that rotate on a weekly basis, along with some featured internships, and all of these are clickable links. So if you've never registered on the SVA job board, you would click the register now, and it gives you starting with a resume where you can choose to upload a resume, or you can skip and add your resume later. All that is needed to log into to set it up is actually an email address and a password, and then your contact information. If you have a resume, you can upload it there, or you can use a build a resume link if you've never got started, which gives you some little helpful ways to start building a resume. I am going to use a test user, so none of the information I show you is live, but I have a test user and I am going to log in to their profile and let you see as a job seeker what your account would look like. So once you are logged in, again, you have the same type of information on the homepage, but you just have a little different links because it does have you're already established. If you were to go to my profile and resumes, this is the page that you can have that adds your information. And this is what Claire was talking about. What type of position you're looking for, you can click these options in here. What's your education level, your graduation month and graduation year? This allows to sort out to help employers try to figure out where you are in the pipeline if you know that. Your program field of study, expected graduation, your military branch, again, your affiliation, if you have a security clearance, if there's anything you want to add about yourself to make you more visible. For example, this target job seeker is really more into nursing, but they also have a background in civil engineering. So you can add that. You can actually add more than one resume into your account. You'd click on the add resume feature and it would allow you to click from your computer or your iPhone or wherever that profile document to add it in there. And then you can select your default. So you can have multiple resumes into your account. And then when you're going to apply for a job, pull which resume you want tailored out. You can also upload other documents. And again, this is where Claire mentioned about the PII. So if you have any certifications, licensings, or other documents, you have that ability there. So this is your profile page that really the more you add to this to make it more enriched, the easier it is for employers to see you and connect with you. So why that is important is if we go back and we're trying to search for a job, you can search for a job either using the link here or again on your home page. But as you're clicking to search for a job, the first thing that the job board does is you can enter keywords or you can do an AI best match. So the AI best match is going to go from your portfolio to then pull against the current jobs that are in the job board and come up with the list of jobs that are currently available that may be a good match for you. So for example, if I was to click on this, see in a matter of seconds, they're showing based on the portfolio of my test user, this is a job that is of the best match for them at the time. And there could be multiple jobs here. You also have an advanced search where you can put in some more information, expand the radius miles, or a certain posted start date if you're looking for that. But if I go back here to keywords, and again, I'm just using my test user, and I'm going to say they're going to look for a paramedic. They're looking for a paramedic role, and they want to be in Florida. They're in Florida. They know they want to relocate Florida or whatever. And I click search. It is now going to give me jobs that have something with paramedics in Florida. So here it's not necessarily the word paramedic, it's firefighter EMT or firefighter EMT on site. And if I was to click on the job here, I can now see the details. I can click to apply. I can look at the employer profile, which gives the information about the employer. I can save this job if I want to save it and come back and look at it. I can click on tell a friend and I can forward this job to somebody else I know, or I could return back to the main search menu. So when you're looking at the job Richmond here, you'll be able to see the information about it, and you can see a video if they have a video posted, or the employer's social media pages. So you can see that just from this page. But if you actually clicked on employer profile, you're now seeing more rich information about that employer and how they're set up and any military friendliness or anything about them that you would be able to want to look at as you're investigating into your job search. If I go back to the same example and I say, I want a paramedic, but I actually want to go live in Texas right now. I'm thinking something in Texas, and I click search, there's no current jobs available. So in that situation, I can click to save this search as an alert. And when I click to save it, what will happen is it sets up an alert here. And when any job comes in that has the keyword or information I put in there, it will automatically alert me by the email that I have on file. But you can also, when you're setting up these job alerts, they are put up here where you have my jobs, you have alert feature here, which brings you to the same page. And you can come back to this page at any time and run a search for the jobs. So I set up this job here right now, but I'm going to go to RN. This one was already set up, and I'm going to run it. And now what it's going to do is it tells me here are jobs that are currently available based on the criteria that I set up at one point. So one, the system will alert you via email, but two, if you ever want to come back and just double check and make sure you didn't miss anything along the way or change your alerts, you can do that. So as your alerts are here, again, you can click on this information and it will tell you about the job and you have those same features. So that is an option with your job searching in here. But let's go back and remember I said in the profile, we had the person that had engineer. So they had engineer, but let's say I'm looking for something engineer, and again, as Claire said, and I have my top secret. So now I'm trying to figure out what could be jobs available. And I run a search, and here it's going to say, these are current engineering jobs that have a top secret requirement that are available for me to consider applying for. And again, I can click on these, learn more information about it. So it's really useful to set up and do your job search. But again, by the more you have in your portfolio, that's going to help you as you're looking for some keywords. There is the advanced feature here where you can even expand your mile radius, or you can have multiple choices for your job alerts. So I did want to, go through and walk through that. What I am going to do is now log out, and I'm going to use a test employer. So again, this is a full test environment. You're not seeing anybody's account and let you see it from an employer standpoint. So as an employer, they have this profile and resume alert, and they have folders also. So from their side, they can go in and add and say, I'm looking for somebody either in a certain mile radius, somebody that at least has a certain type of degree, somebody that has certain, from a different branch or different things like that. And they can save that and run that profile to be able to see the candidates that come up with. When they do run this, so they let's just put in nurse here and see what comes through here. So then they do set these up. So then what happens is they have this where they can run the information. So I'm going to do the same thing we did before. And again, they would be able to see, but if I run for nurse, it's going to give me the list of users in here of people that have that type of degree already set up. If I go back to these folders here, where these folders are set up to run, because once I get the candidate, I can move them into folders. What it goes back to is these resumes are all ones that connect it to what they were looking for. So I'm going to look at this registered nurse. It's my test account. Nobody's information is going to come up again. And if I click on this, I see there's a resume of Jennifer Hudson. She met every criteria that I put up in my job alert. and this is my test user. So from an employer standpoint, what they can do is they can add a note to this, they can forward it. So if they're working in our office and trying to forward it to that division, they can forward your account there. But then they can click on it and say, here's the information. And they can actually add notes there about, like, I reached out to them, they're interested in an internship. But they can see the information about you. They can actually click on the resume, and this is your preferred resume. They can click on that. They can send you a message by clicking on send message. They can forward this to one of their other coworkers, or they can return back to the search. So this is why keeping your profile updated is really important, and being able to show that in there. So that's a quick overview of the job board and what today's topic is about putting your resume in and then keeping your profile updated. What I want to do is go back to the section of our slides, and we will have some questions and answers. So if you do have any questions, feel free to put that into the chat. So as we're coming back here, one of the things I want to talk about is some resume tips. So Chad, Claire, and myself, we have this list of some resume tips, and we're just kind of opening it up here and giving kind of one or two of our favorite resume tips. And then also, if you have any tips that you've heard along the way, drop those into chat. But when I think about resumes and resume tips, one of the things I find most common is that thinking about awards and certifications and volunteer work. I think a lot of times awards are not appearing on resumes, and I think there's some value on that. I see veterans leaving off their awards. For example, your military awards, they're just not ribbons and certifications. They tell the employer who you are and how you react under pressure. So instead of just putting a name like an Army Commendation Medal, you put Army Commendation and then give it as recognized for leading 12 people through high-stake logistic operations with no failures or stuff like that. That explains to the employer what that award means. In the same sense, having Volunteer of the Year for Red Cross means one thing, but if you say having Volunteer of the Year for Red Cross selected out of over 200 volunteers because I did X, Y, or Z, that gives that rich information back to a employer on your resume. So that's one of my quick tips on when you're thinking about a resume of what to do. But Claire, do you have a tip to share out with the group?
Absolutely. One of my biggest tips I'd like to share is just for your general resume. I find a lot of times when, job seekers are applying to different jobs, they're often, reformatting their resume, they're pulling out bullet points from maybe previous resumes or previous documents, and a lot of times I find that leads to a mismatch in the overall general format of the resume. So I'd recommend, every once in a while or, before you apply to a job, go ahead, just select all, make sure fonts are matching, colors are matching, and font size is matching too. So you get a nice consistent format throughout the whole resume. But that's my main tip. I'm going to pass it to Chad for some of his tips.
Sure. So one of my main ones as as a former recruiter is just kind of the format of your resume to kind of tap in on that. I like to have them structured. You have the executive summary at the beginning. Who are you? What do you want to do? You have your skills, a couple hard, a couple soft skills, the meat inside of your job descriptions, and then any education, anything that can reinforce it. So basically it's who are you? What do you want to do? Tell me the skills that you have. Show me where you did the skills in the job, and then reinforce it with the education piece. Because as a recruiter, once you get through assuming you get through the ATS and the AI, the recruiter might spend 30 seconds to a minute on every resume, depending on their load. So you want to be able to stand out there. And really what I'm looking for is I see a couple nice to haves, I see some preferreds, and I see some requirements, and I'm just checking your skill sets to make sure they align with that. Um, and if you make that cut, you get put in a different pile that I will eventually move over to the hiring manager. So those are kind of my skills that I would add. So this is where I'm going to talk about how do you supercharge your resume and add additional skill sets. So something cool that we offer with SVA is we have a great partnership with Google, and we offer professional certificates. So it's called our SVA Professional Development Series, and we have Google Professional Certificates. This is a really great thing to have because let's say whatever you studied, you want to either expand your skill set or perhaps upskill or maybe change your career. This is a good opportunity to go in and add those additional pieces to your resume. Like when I said, what training certifications that you've done that you can reinforce your experience. This is a great opportunity to do that. Another thing is these certificates are actually all ACE certified, so you can potentially take them and get college credit with them as well. So right now we offer 10 certificates, fairly in demand, but also can be used in multiple areas. So we have IT, we have data analytics, we have marketing, we have UX design, project management, and as well as AI. So that's been our newest one. It's been quite popular. So if you are interested, feel free to scan the QR code. All those requests come to me, and then I'll send you a link in order to get you set up with it via Coursera. Go to the next slide. And one other piece that we have is we actually have some year LinkedIn Premium opportunities for our SVA members. So if you haven't done so already, please create a MySVA account and then just shoot me an email. I'll drop that in the chat so you have it. And here's why this is important. We know this job market is challenging. And the reason why we obviously want you to take advantage of these job boards and all of these resources is we want to see you succeed. And I say all that to say, even having a great resume, even being on the job board, even posting all these, it's part of what you need to do, but in this market, you need to do more than that. And the other piece of this, no matter how great your resume is, no matter how many places you post your job or you post your resume, none of it matters unless you create a human connection with someone. And I say that to say, whenever you're applying to a job, ideally you want to have 3 points of contact inside that institution. Here's why I say that. You have multiple gates that you're trying to get through in order to get to an interview there. So your first gate that you're trying to get through is the AI that is sitting on top of the applicant tracking system. Every large company has an applicant tracking system of some sort. And a lot of companies are actually using AI to auto sift, auto sort folks in there. So if your resume is not what it needs to be, it will never even be seen. It'll get kicked out immediately. So that's the one thing. The second gate is the recruiter. So it's the me smiling at the other end of the screen there. I have a military background as an Army veteran, and I've been around enough that I can generally pick out a non-civilianized resume and get the gist of what you're looking for. Not every recruiter has that ability. Not every company has a military specific recruiter. If you use our job board, they do, but in general, not necessarily. So with that, I'm one point of contact in there. And this is where using things like LinkedIn and your external network is of value to you, as well as someone like me at SVA who does alumni work. I can guarantee you there is a veteran doing or a military connected in SVA's extended network who's doing the thing that you want to do or knows someone who's doing the thing you want to do. So reach out to me or use your LinkedIn and find points of contact inside that organization or find people who know people in those organizations. Because another piece is most big companies will have employee resource groups, particularly veteran ones. They're on our job board. They should have a veteran one. Those are individuals who will have a natural affinity to help to want to see you succeed. So reach out to them, find out who those folks are, and even more so, find out the person who maybe had the job that you're interested in or in that department. So through that, you can get your second and potentially third point of contact inside that company. Now, let's say your resume doesn't get hit, the ATS catches it. You can at least reach out to someone and say, hey, can you keep an eye out for its resume I applied? They can talk to HR. They might get back to me with my recruiter hat on and say, hey, keep an eye out for this individual. I think they're really good, whichever. Now I know to go in and hunt and search. Or if I did find you already, now I'll put a gold star on it because I know this is someone who's been internally recommended. So these are some of the tips and tricks that are really of value for you. And again, there's no science to this, but these are some things that have worked over the years that I've seen. If you talk to 10 recruiters, they'll tell you 10 different things, but there'll be versions of what I just said. So with that, do we have any, want to go to the next slide?
Absolutely. Okay, yes, so now is time to ask your questions. Feel free to come off mic or, ask your questions in chat. I will read them out loud.
I think we see some questions being typed in. While we let the question come up, I do, Chad, definitely agree about the networking. I think you never know where you're going to find that right person that's going to connect you. I remember a story of a service member who actually got an internship because he was casually talking at a baseball game to somebody sitting around him, a total stranger, just striking up the conversation about what they're doing, what they want to do. They're actually like, hey, our company, we're considering about an intern for that same field. So I say be brave. Don't be scared to reach out or just, let anybody know what you're looking for, because the more people that know what you're looking for, the more people that can help you find that next role. So Chad, definitely thanks for sharing that. Claire, I don't see a question, but Shirley, you are very welcome for the great resources.
Definitely.
Have,
Do you have anything you want to share, Shirley? I know you're having technical difficulties, but definitely type it in if you have anything.
Claire, Chad, do you guys have any other resume tips or anything else to share out with the group while we're seeing anything come in?
Sure. I do have a couple more resume tips. The resume that I explained is really kind of a generalized format. And this will tie a little bit back to what Claire was saying on having a resume and making sure it's tailored and having all your information. What I like to do is have what I call a master resume or your kitchen sink resume. Throw everything you've ever done on it on there. And then you go in, you pick and choose and tailor your resume depending on the position that you're applying to. So that's one. I do get questions a lot, and I've seen in cases, let's say you had a big break in employment or whichever. There are different ways you can format your resume to highlight what you want to highlight and de-emphasize the things that you don't want to highlight, obviously. So if you haven't really had a break, chronological works fine. If you have, or let's say there's a particular skill set that you're trying to highlight and add meat to, do a functional resume. And then basically you put your different areas of expertise or your areas of skills and talk about what you've done in roles in those things. And then on the bottom, you can condense and put your jobs on there. So you are being honest in that you're providing all the information that is needed, but conversely, you're just not emphasizing the stuff that you don't want to have on there. So that's another way to do it. There are tons of different ways. AI is out pretty good at actually sifting those out. So those are opportunities as well.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I actually think those are great, Chad. And I think some people don't realize that even when you have a LinkedIn profile, when you click the drop down for your resume, you can customize that at the time too. So you don't have to pull out everything on your LinkedIn resume. So if you're kind of stuck on how do I even start building a resume, and you have a LinkedIn profile, it's a good place to even start thinking about where to capture it. Yeah, that's great.
Ooh, on LinkedIn. This is might be a bugaboo for me as a recruiter. Do your best to take a semi-professional headshot, or at least in a professional setting or a uncluttered setting, and wearing something that you would want to represent yourself with. You don't know how many car selfies I've seen on their LinkedIn profiles, and it actually drives me wild. So that's something to consider. And so when you're doing the networking, here's another piece of advice. When I say that you need to create points of contact, or let's say you reach out to me to connect you with someone in an organization, the first thing I'm going to do is look at your LinkedIn, because that's typically how I'm going to have you connect with. That's the easiest way. It's the way where I have most of my connections, and it makes it easier. So if your LinkedIn resume is not, if your LinkedIn profile is not up to date, then I can't in good conscience share your profile with a contact, because I'm not setting you up for failure. You're not setting yourself up for success. So that's something to keep in mind. Your LinkedIn profile is actually kind of your living resume in a sense. So you have those opportunities to do that. And then if you really want to put some work out there, and I need to do more of this myself, but post on LinkedIn, show scholarly articles, do your own or so research that you're interested in, show your interests as well. Anything else?
Great. I will say, the job market is difficult, as you've said, Chad, right now. So putting the hat on of a student veteran who may be taking college classes, always looking at what jobs are out there and what the requirements are. If you're may not be in the market today, but you're graduating in 8 months, see what type of jobs are out there and what those jobs are asking for, so that if you are there is a gap in what you currently have, you have time to help build on some of those gaps. It could be potentially picking up a elective class, or taking a skill, or one of those certifications that you talked about. I mean, AI has advanced so much in the last year. You think about 8 years ago, we weren't even talking about AI as a certification or anything like that. So keep up with the different jobs that you want to go to in the future. Well,
Correct.
I don't see any other questions that have come in. Claire, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I think you guys said it perfectly. My only thing to add is, I say in the job search, it's quality over quantity. So, when you are applying, make sure it is a quality application. And just to echo what Chad and Wendy said, reach out to contacts, look at the job post, make sure your resume does align with what you are applying to, and don't give up either.
That's key. That is key. You only need one yes. So that is the key point. But also luck favors the prepared. So the better you prepare yourself, the better opportunity you have for things to work out.
Well, if you are on the call and you haven't clicked on the survey, do make sure you fill out the survey. That all does help us. If you have any suggestions for other future webinars, drop those in the chat. But I appreciate you joining us today for this webinar and on the job board. If you do have any questions, there is a link to contact us down at the bottom. So if you do need any help or support, you can always go there or through SVA and reach out, and we can even help give some of the one-on-ones that you may need to help with your profile, or somebody that may not have attended the session today. This will be recorded. This is recorded, and Chad, I believe it will be posted up to SVA later on. So that's all I have. If anybody else has anything, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
And then to answer your question, Shirley, yes, we can share that deck with you. All right. Well, thank you again so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.